Good morning, Perth. This is your own Daisy Chauhan, and we welcome you all on Radio Trang channel. We are so happy to hear today with the very honorable personality. His name is Patrick Gorman, Assistant Minister to Prime Minister and a member for Perth. We really welcome you on our channel, sir. How are you today?
I'm good, Daisy. Thank you very much for having me. Hello to all of your viewers and listeners, and it's great to be talking today about something which I'm really passionate about.
Thank you so very much for your time and welcome on our channel. So I would like to ask you about the voice. What is voice and why it is so important to Australia?
Well, this is about finally recognising the first peoples of this land in our Constitution. This has been a conversation that's been going for many decades. But what we've got on the 14th of October is an opportunity to, first of all, recognise our first Australians in the Constitution. Second, to say as a community we want to listen to them. Mm-hmm. And the reason we're doing all that is because we know that when we listen to people about the policies that affect them, we get better results.
Yeah.
More effective spend, better outcomes. We actually make a difference. And that's what this is all about, is like a big positive difference for Australia.
Great. So why are you voting yes to the voice? What are the main reasons that you're supporting to voice?
Yeah, well, every Australian, or 18 million Australians who get to vote in this referendum, have their own ideas about why they're voting yes. For me, it's because I've listened really carefully to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. They told us that this is the form of constitutional recognition that they want. Most Australians believe that we should recognise in our constitution the reality that First Nations people were here for some 65,000 years. And then if you accept that we should recognise them, then I think you should listen and recognise they're saying through a voice where they can make representations, State parliaments can make representations, individual constituents can make representations. What we're now allowing for is for a voice of First Nations people, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, to give us better advice about things like housing, jobs, health, education, the things where we know that we can do so much better.
Okay, so whenever we start any campaign, whenever we say yes to something, of course, there are some defenders as well. There are people who say no as well. So how do you respond to it?
Well, I'd just say that voting no is really closing the door on a really big opportunity.
That's true.
And saying no takes us nowhere. It doesn't get us any better results. It doesn't have any solutions attached. Voting no just means that we'll get the same old thing. The politicians will still be making decisions. We won't be getting good advice. Things won't change. And so voting no really leads us nowhere. And it closes the door on opportunity for all Australians to be able to do this really special thing. And I think we're all lucky. We are the ones who get to have a say about our Constitution on the 14th of October. And I just really encourage people to take our responsibility as citizens really seriously, to listen very closely about the arguments that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are putting forward, and to grab this opportunity.
And what are your counters to the campaign's claim?
Oh, look, there's lots of claims around. Again, I just encourage people, you're going to hear a lot during this referendum, and you'll hear a lot of assertions. Just pause for a minute and think, is that really true? Because you always get people out there saying things that are everything from false to confusing and often deliberately political. The fact is that you've got people on all sides of politics who support constitutional recognition. I marched across the Matagarat Bridge from Optus Stadium into Perth alongside Ken Wyatt, a very well-respected Liberal former minister. He's supporting yes. I've walked through the streets of Perth with Julie Bishop, a former Foreign Minister of Australia, former Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party. She's voting yes. So I just say, be really critical and analyse some of those claims that are being made by those who say no. Because actually, ultimately, this is just about three simple things. It's about recognising our first Australians. It's about listening to them. And we do all of that to get better results.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. As discussed, I can see that a lot of people supporting Voice, and I would appeal everybody just come forward and please support Voice. It's good for everybody. It's good for the people out there, and really good luck. You're doing a great job.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Now, I'm going to take over this interview for a little minute.
Sure.
I'm going to ask Harry a question. Why are you supporting The Voice?
Thank you, Patrick. I'm supporting The Voice because, again, like you said, it's about recognition and it's about listening. And also it's about fairness and justice as well of what has been happening in our country for a very long time. Like Noel Pearson said the other day, there's 3 great stories in Australia. The 65,000 years of the Aboriginal and Indigenous culture. Then the second story that started on 26th of January 1788, and the third story in 1966 or 7 about abolishing the White Australia policy. And that's when the multiculturalism came into place. And I think one thing that, like Noel mentioned very, very clearly, and it hit home for me, is that we cannot deny the fact that people were here before we came, before outsiders came here. So that is the first one, which means recognizing that there were people here before, the first people of Australia. The second part is about making laws and having a say in them. And I think it is important in today's world, we're in 2023, and we will not see any example anywhere where we are making laws for somebody and telling them, we are doing this for you because we know what you need and what you want and what will make better lives for you. And that's why that second part of making laws and improving lives and listening is very, very important. Now, I also want to mention something about the No campaign as well, because I think I personally feel, because I come from a multicultural background, that it is actually this referendum will unify us as a country, and we'll step away from first people and second people. We'll only have one people because we are all one after that, and it will take the politics out of it forever. We can't. There won't be any political football about it. I was listening to Mr. Mundine and Mr. Dutton the other day, and what they were saying is that they still want the 26th of January changed, like Mr. Mundine was saying, and he was saying that we need multiple committees so we can have multiple voices at multiple levels. And so basically they still want it in different way, shape or form. So it is, and that clearly, that is political football. And Mr. Dutton saying he will also bring in a referendum and with a different flavor. Now, if we are having a referendum, to me that means that you're in some way, shape or form, you're changing the constitution, because you don't need a referendum otherwise. You only need a referendum when we're changing the constitution. So they're going to be doing the same thing, and anything that they do outside of that still has to go through the parliamentary processes about passing laws and everything else. So they're not going to be being any different than what we're doing now. And so that's where I think it is all the misinformation about this whole No campaign going out. And so there are my reasons for actually strongly not countering, but making people aware of the realities of today's world. And because it's very close to me, and I've been following, the Yes campaign throughout. I did the walk on Sunday. I took my son with me, and so
it was a lovely event, wasn't it? It was just
fantastic.
So nice to see people coming together, all walks of life. 10,000 West Australians saying, actually, let's come together and do something positive.
It's fantastic, and it is, and that's the ground level basically, and it was so encouraging to see the youth coming in, because that's where the change is. We had so many elderly people actually who could barely manage, but they were still participating, and it was a fantastic day. But the outcome was great, and I think it's basically provided the motivation we need. So we just need to get in there for the next 3 weeks, like you said the other day. Everyone who's volunteering or doing something. Next 3 weeks are very, very crucial, because we might not get any opportunity like this after that. And like Noel was saying, it's change of leadership. He wouldn't be, because he spent all his lifetime campaigning for Indigenous rights and things. We might miss out on this opportunity, and we are the only, like Mark Dreyfus said the other day at Multicultural Forum, we are the only liberal democracy in the Western world who haven't actually acknowledged and recognized our people.
That's right.
It's not Indigenous people, it's our people. It's the other half of us. So, but to me it is that we actually haven't made ourselves indigenous enough at that level that we can become one people. And that's for me is core.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Is ultimately this is an opportunity to accept a very kind invitation to bring people together.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about.
That's what it's all about, yeah.
Bring people together, and on the 14th of October, with a strong, enthusiastic yes from the people of Australia, we will all come together for that brighter future where we actually get better results and deliver more, not just for the First Nations of Australia, but for all of us.
Well, Mr. Patrick, there's a question coming into my mind. Is this campaign going on only in Western Australia, or is it all over, all over the Australia?
All right, well, I think it's important that your viewers know that when it comes to a referendum, every vote matters, because to get a referendum up in Australia, you need to win the majority of the national vote, and you need to win at least 4 of the 6 original states. And so what that means is that Western Australia will be really important. That's why I'm working so hard here in the West to make sure that people have the information they need, and to make sure that, you know, our history here in Western Australia is so proud. You know, Colin Barnett, former Liberal Premier, was the one who did constitutional recognition in the state constitution. He did that in partnership with former Premier Mark McGowan. That's a great thing that we should all be proud of as Western Australians. And we have this opportunity on the 14th of October to write the next chapter.
Yeah, and how people can vote? Is there any voting line or anything they can support through?
There's a few different ways you can vote. You can go to early voting if you're not able to vote on election day. That information is available at the Australian Electoral Commission website, aec.gov.au. That's aec.gov.au. So you can go to one of those early voting locations. If you need to, you can contact the Electoral Commission and apply for a postal vote, or you can go and vote on the day. And the locations are still being worked upon, but they'll likely be, for most people, where you would normally go and vote for a state or federal election. So the local school or a local church hall, that sort of thing. There'll be plenty of information about where you can vote. I would also remind your viewers that voting is compulsory. If you're enrolled to vote, you do need to vote, and it's very important that you get out and do that. It's an exciting civic duty for us to do as citizens. And normally it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, every single vote matters.
One question, Patrick.
Yeah.
In terms of the slogan for the No campaign, which is say no if you don't know. What do you have to say about that?
I say fear less, vote yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
That was great answer. Well, thank you so very much, Mr. Patrick and Mr. Harry. That was a brief, I would say, introduction about the Voice, and please support Voice. We all are with you, and thank you for your time, precious time to be with us today. Wish you really good luck for this campaign. I really wish to God that you guys win. We all win, and we must support each other.
Everyone will win.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And for the audience, please do subscribe our channel Radio Trong and keep watching us for more updates. And this was your own Daisy Chauhan. Thank